Ooh, baby. Yes, sir. We are here. We are here. We are here. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Views from the 22 on the scene YouTube channel. We got Thursday night football and we got a prime time matchup for the ages. I'm lying. We got the 1-4 Giants versus the 1-3 and 1 and 2 and 6 and 7 Eagles. I don't even know what the hell their record is because anytime there's a tie at the end of your record, I don't care what your record is because in my book, if you tie a game, you are immediately eliminated from Super Bowl contention for that year. And just to add a little cherry on top, if you punt just to tie, you definitely eliminated, and you definitely shouldn't write a book called Fearless. But we'll leave that for about 20 minutes from now. That ain't a watch. That's Recreations. Shout out Recreations with the beautiful jewelry on. Show it to them, Vic. Show it to them, Vic. All right, fellas, let's dive into it. We had three key pieces of news today. First piece of news, the Buccaneers Raiders Sunday Night Football primetime game that has been flexed to 4 o'clock, and the Seahawks Cardinals has been flexed into that spot on Sunday Night Football. Now you say, wait a minute, why in the world is Tom Brady being flexed out of primetime? Well, in case you haven't figured it out by now, none of us make the rules. Corona makes the rules. And with the Raiders' entire offensive line in quarantine, and more importantly, Trent Brown, the offensive tackle, testing positive, that game is up in the air right now, pending results over the next few days. And so the NFL didn't want to have a situation where their Sunday night football game, their
All
lone
of a
game
sudden,
on NBC that for the week is there's nothing there. So
all
they
of a
did
sudden, it's
that.
not there.
What's that?
That all of a sudden is no Sunday night game. That'd be
Right.
tragic for the NFL,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
in their eyes, at least.
I mean, I understand it though. I understand it though.
Right.
You
Hmm.
don't want that you don't want that game being and Vic, since you decided you didn't want to go with your beautiful looking headphones, I'm hearing my
Oh,
echo a
my bad.
little bit, but that's okay.
My son is using them right now. Why? Can you hear me well?
I can
No.
hear me well.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
But you
try to
good, you
fix
good.
that
Let's
real quick.
listen. There we go. There we go. That's better. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
got you.
that's all that matters. But yeah, I don't blame them. I mean, listen, that is the only reason why you would flex out Tom Brady. So I've seen it all in 2020, including Tom Brady being flexed out of a primetime game. The other piece of news, two transactions, one significant, one could be very significant. First piece of news, Yannick Ngakoue was traded from the Minnesota Vikings to the Baltimore Ravens. And the other news from the Baltimore Ravens is that they signed Des Bryant. Throw up the X back in the league. Now he's on the practice squad. Vic's got a little more details on that. Vic, I know obviously Des is near and dear to your heart. We all know that. So what's your thoughts to this signing, and what can we expect moving forward, and when can we possibly see Des Bryant activated onto the 53-man roster for Sundays?
Right. So, like you said, it's pending physical. Basically, with the new COVID rules and stuff like that, if the physical goes well, he'll get signed to the practice squad. So any veteran now could get practice sent to the practice squad. If everything works out there, he can also be activated to the 53. If it looks like that he can contribute. I personally thought that his last year of service, he was still a good contributor. He wasn't, Des to me was good at the four levels, right? So short, intermediate, deep, and also sideline. Okay, sideline is another level of the field that is important. Not a lot of people talk about.
For sure.
Right now in his career, though, you can expect him to go deep. So short, intermediate routes, and of course sideline routes, right? Meaning back shoulder fades, things like that. With this signing going to the Ravens, we know what Lamar is as a passer. He sees the field better, in between the hash marks. So that's where I would hope they're expecting to use Dez slants, digs, in routes, things like that, where he can work the middle of the field, use his physical traits that he has. because the sideline throws, which that ultimately was the end of him in Dallas, was because Dak simply couldn't throw those outside routes. He could not throw those back shoulder routes like Tony Romo could. All right, nobody's going to talk about these things, but the film is what the film is. He just could not get him the ball outside. That Dez could not use his physical traits. Therefore, you had a situation where the Cowboys made it seem like it was easy to let Dez go. Then we saw 4 games into last season, they traded for Cooper. So they knew that they still needed a number one for Dak. But other than that, hopefully we'll see how they use him in this offense if he's able to get on the 53-man roster.
Listen, I mean, he's been out of the league for a while, so it's gonna be tough for him to get back into that football shape because there's no way to simulate that the action of a football game, the speed of a football game, and more importantly, the physicality of a football game. So
I mean, we saw when he got hurt against with the New Orleans Saints. As soon as he started practicing hard, he tore his Achilles. So
right.
hopefully that doesn't happen to him again. He's 31 years old. I think he's still young enough to do something.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm certainly excited for him. He was a very exciting player to watch when he was with the Cowboys, and the Ravens could use the help. The Ravens could use the help. But where the Ravens could use more help, and we've been talking about this not just for these 6 weeks, fellas. We've been talking about this basically since Darius Smith left that locker room. The Ravens have to blitz in order to get pressure. That's just the bottom line of it. They have to blitz to get pressure. So what did they do? They went out and got Yannick Ngakoue, who was with the Jaguars last year. He was traded to the Minnesota Vikings, lasted 6 weeks for Minnesota, and we'll touch on that more on Sunday from Minnesota's side. But for Baltimore's side, Germ, this could be a real pivotal piece to a team that relies so much on blitzing, and also to a secondary that we have seen it can be very inconsistent and has displayed some very poor ball skills, as you pointed out when we were watching film last night. So, what do you think of this trade? How can this possibly help the Ravens moving forward? And do you think it's a significant enough addition where now we can say, hey, maybe Baltimore has that defense to make a late run into January? Your thoughts, sir?
First and foremost, I think it's insignificant.
Okay.
Two reasons why. First of all, now we're going to get into a personnel grouping where these guys are going to pretty much they're going to have to convert to some things that they don't normally like to be. The Ravens are normally they like to be some type of odd front, which is normal. Excuse me, an even front, which is normally 2 linemen, 2-3 linebackers, especially when it comes down to some of their sub packages. They do like to have their edge guys stand up. That is something that they do want to give their edge guys the capability to do is stand up and rush because they do like to cause pressure with stunts, twists, and those type of things as well. The thing that I don't like about this is he doesn't really fit the scheme. You're going to have to change some things, and he's going to be exclusively for third down and passing situations. And Ngakoue is not a closer. He's a guy that you add to your defense to help your closer. Matthew Judon is another guy you add to the defense to help your closer. You got 2 guys who are basically, for all my baseball people, who are people who pitch in the 7th and 8th inning, but no guy who pitches in the 9th. That's pretty much what you have here. You don't have a Mariano Rivero. You got a Jobber Chamberlain or 2 of them. That's pretty much what you got. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm flexing. I'm flexing. We out here. But I'm just letting you know, it's not going to be what y'all think it is. Number 2, and the most important thing here is he does not help you in one area that you really need. And again, this Ravens team is not as good against this rush and not as good against the run as people thought they were going to be with these additions. They're just not. Mm-hmm. I seen a play with Miles Sanders last week, and I'm going to entitle it Saquon Could Never. And we seen Miles Sanders freeze 3 people and run 74 yards on them folk. It's not anything. This defense is not special. I'm just going to tell you what it is now. They're just not special. It's a group of players that have fundamental issues. They have fundamental flaws. And hopefully he can come in and help them with pressure. You're still going to have to blitz sometimes because when he's not getting pressure, It's a reason why he's on this team, on his third team in 6 weeks.
Right. Well, he's on his third team and he hasn't even gotten to his second contract yet. And I think that's the most important thing for Baltimore is you're basically getting this player for 10 games, a couple games in January, and then do you sign him? Well, if you don't sign him, you just gave up some draft capital for him. So you telling me you gave up significant draft capital just to get a player for 10 weeks? Well, you better play in February and he better be
the Vikings gave up a second round pick, you know what I mean, and then got rid of him after that. So there must be some issues. There's got to be some things going on. Maybe Minnesota just seeing their season go down the drain. They're trying to get back some draft capital. But I mean, for you to trade a pass rusher like that, like what we think he can be or what he has shown before, there must be some issues going on with him right now.
And lastly, the only thing I'm going to say lastly in this is this goes into the bigger picture for the Ravens for me, which is you don't pick a running back in the second round if you have other pressing needs and issues. You pick J.K. Dobbins, and a lot of your picks that you made did not improve your pass rush. None of them did, in fact. So it was a lot of players that were 34 scheme players that you could have picked that would have been better for this time of the year as we get into week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, because as we know, this is the weeks that the rookies start to get their feel, and especially with this being a pandemic-driven year, this would have been a great time to have some of those young players on your roster. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Right.
Shouts out to Dez. Congratulations for the mini success here. I just wish you would have went to a better team. Y'all already know how I feel about the Ravens in general. I'm not impressed by the franchise, the organization. Hey, I'm just gonna be honest, but it is what it is.
Yeah, real quick. Dennis is asking, can Lamar get him the ball consistently? Like I said, there's a lot of obstacles that he has to get through right now, like passing the physical, which I hope he should, because before when the Browns were trying to sign him, word is that he wasn't ready in terms of the physical. So he has to get through the physical. He has to show that he can play against the practice squad and compete against the guys in practice, and then he'll get signed to the 53. So he has to get through those obstacles. Then the last obstacle becomes, can Lamar get him the ball? Like I said, he's gonna have to work the middle of the field, which he does very well, slants, digs, things like that. But we'll see. I think there's a lot more things that are not in his favor than there is in his favor. But it's one of those things where you would like to see it happen and see it become a success.
Sure. And just to move on from Jerm, you want to add something to that?
No, only thing I want to say is shouts out to our Raven guys in the comments. Dion basically makes it. He made a point and said
right.
he's from 45 minutes away from here too, and if he outplays Judon, which he should, he's gonna take the money we were supposed to give Judon.
Right, and that's a very good point by Dion. Shout out to Dion. Shout out to Tanya in the comments as well. Mrs. Watt, that's an inside joke. Shout out to Mrs. Watt. JJ, not TJ. I'll make that perfectly clear. Certainly not Derek. But I think for Ngakoue and for this Ravens team, Dion basically took my point. I'm gonna just be completely honest with you. That's a very good point by Dion, and that's probably what's gonna end up happening. And just to add to what Jerm said, yes, J.K. Dobbins was not a smart pick, but when you have a quarterback like Lamar, you need running backs. It's just that simple.
They got 3 of them on the roster. You pay Mark. You got
why?
Right,
Gus,
and as we've seen, they are clearly understanding what they have in that quarterback position and understanding that they got to invest heavy capital into the running back position. And the best way to maximize the value of that position is through the draft. And it's just that simple to me on that.
So why is it guys like a Mark Ingram not getting the statistics, the numbers, the touches that you would expect from him? Like, are they distributing the carries between the 3, or what is it that's happening? They need to limit Lamar's touches, man.
And know what it is honestly, y'all, just to get away from it and just to close it out and get to the game. I'm gonna be honest with you. Lamar Jackson keeps a lot of things that he doesn't need to keep sometimes. It's situations that you'll see in the game that he doesn't need to keep the ball, and he just keeps it. He still leads the team in rushing, bro.
I mean, Vic, just to give you a little rundown, you got J.K. Dobbins averaging about 40% of the snaps. You got Gus Edwards averaging about 30% of the snaps. And you got Mark Ingram, who's averaging about 30% of the snaps as well. So they are doing a pretty decent job with just distributing and with rotating guys in and out. I
So
do
so
not.
you
Mm.
so you think they should do it that way? I
Well,
personally think Mark Ingram should get most of the carries.
I don't disagree with that because I think Mark, and obviously what's on my agenda for this week in the lab is to get back to the Ravens offense and lab them a little bit because I didn't want to lab them every week only because I just know what I'm going to see and I'm not trying to get frustrated every week. So it's
I
bad
mean, I
enough.
think
It's bad enough I've watched every single Phillip Rivers throw in the 2020 season. I don't need too much stress in my life as it is.
I think that the Ravens are telling us or telling themselves, telling the NFL that there is some issues with this football team that they want to correct, bringing some veterans in like this. So, they could. I don't want to say panic mode, but they're probably seeing some things that they don't like.
And I seen Lamar skipping rocks this week. I mean, excuse me, skipping footballs this week.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, skipping them.
Well,
Hollywood Brown wide open in the middle of the field, skipping rocks.
yeah. I mean, listen, he skips rocks. Josh Allen throws frisbees. Moving on. We got the New York Giants versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We're gonna dive into this game. We got a few things we want to break down in this game. First of all, the Giants 4.5 point underdogs, and the over/under is 44.5 on this one. We'll get back to that a little later in this. Where we want to start, fellas, where we want to start is with the Philadelphia Eagles. And as I touched on earlier, Doug Peterson wrote a book called Fearless, and he proceeded to punt to tie. He punted the football to tie. In the words of Big Shot, contract Doug Peterson. My humble opinion, Doug Peterson has got to go. Everybody on that coaching staff, with the exception of Deuce Staley, has got to go. And I've been saying that, and the fellas can attest to this for a while now. Yesterday, Germ says, "Hey, Mo, let's get on this Zoom. I got to show you something." I get on the Zoom. I see Vic and Germ there. They said, "Mo, we got to show you something." I watched it. Vic said, "Germ, run the play. Let's see if Mo sees what we see." I run the play. I see Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position. I see Jalen Hurts run the football. And then just to bleep it out for the kids, I go WTF in a very loud and a very aggressive manner. No spoilers. Germ, please tell these folks the atrocity, the tragedy, the stupidness that we saw on film yesterday.
So again, since I watched the Ravens game, obviously last week it was against the Eagles. So oddly enough, Carson Wentz was the X receiver in the formation. So not only was he the X receiver, but Jalen
Germ,
was
I'm gonna need you to say that slowly for the people at home. Carson Wentz,
and explain to them
the
what the X
franchise
means.
quarterback, was doing what now?
Okay. Carson Wentz, the franchise quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, was lined out as the X receiver, meaning he was on the line of scrimmage, he was out wide, and he was matched up against a defensive back who was Marlon Humphrey at the time, I believe, in this play. He was the guy who, in this particular play, the play went to his side. Carson Wentz was blocking down the field for Jalen Hurts on a running play and almost got his legs ran up under and upended.
Like everybody has this past couple weeks. Like we saw Dak go down. Who else?
Miles
Like a bunch of
Sanders went
ankles.
down like that this week, and all of those different things. We've seen this happen. Now, when we seen this happen, I said, hey, Vic, what do you see? And Vic said, Germ, that is not who I think it is. I said, well, I mean, at the end of the day, how do we identify? What does Carson normally wear on his left or right arm? He said, that is Carson Wentz. We went to another play where they have two quarterbacks in the damn backfield. Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts in the same backfield, both of them acting like they're going to take a snap.
Yes, both of them in a quarterback stance.
Oh, what is this? What is it?
It's not football. It's not professional football. That's for damn sure.
And then there's another play where Carson is lined up again as the X in a bunch.
In a bunch.
In a bunch. In a
bunch of hot garbage, Germ. I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I want you to break it down. I'm sorry.
He's lined up in a bunch. He's the outside guy. He's again lined up on the line of scrimmage, meaning he's the X, meaning he's the guy there. So again, he has a guy inside of him and another guy that's that's on top of him, and there's two guys there. Bro, they literally run a play where Carson comes back around, catches the football out of the backfield, and then throws it back to Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, Tanya, but that your cousin's vision on this play is the worst vision I've seen since Saquon Barkley, and it's terrible. I can't believe he had a big gold convoy. Ain't it a beautiful sight? That man spun inside and did not want to outrun the nose tackle. I said, what are we doing? Somebody help! Help! What was he doing? Bro, Tanya, call your cousin and tell him we can't do this. I understand he plays for Doug Peterson. I'm not going to kill him too bad. But I'm going to tell you this now. If Jalen plays like that for Doug Peterson, he needs a new coach because that was unacceptable.
And what was the question that I asked you guys yesterday? What was he drafted for? Was he drafted to be a backup quarterback to replace Carson Wentz one day, or was he drafted to be a weapon? What was, because he's not that type of player where you could just gadget player where you could move him around and do things like that. That's not his skill set. So what was he drafted so early for? That's what I want to know.
Right. Go ahead, Jerm, before I go.
It's just he has two limitations. First of all, he's a bigger kid. So he has good speed, but he's more built for certain things in your power running game. So at the goal line, you're probably going to use him in that way. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But all of this gizmo and gadget and go gadget arm, go gadget left, go gadget, bro, stop it. It's too much. That offense is a gimmick in itself.
Yeah.
Some of the throws that Carson made that they dropped in that game, they made me cry. I was literally like, bro, it's literally Carson and everybody else. And I'm not trying to kill Jalen because of Doug Peterson's incompetence.
Right.
But the belligerence of his insolence, I don't understand. I don't know what to.
Wait a minute. You said what? Hip Hop Anonymous? What'd you say? That man said the belligerence of his insolence. I don't even know what that means.
Hey,
but it's provocative.
Who got diabetes? Yo, but this is what I'm saying. Like, that's the point, bro. It's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Philly, we got to do better. Deshaun Jackson, hopefully is back tonight.
He is.
Lane Johnson is back tonight.
He is.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh, I got everything you need to know about the Eagles injury report tonight.
Hey, look, Mo. I've been looking at this all day. You know why? Because I needed to know if my guy was going to get any help tonight.
Right.
I wanted.
I'm gonna say this. After I say this, I'm gonna just step back. Carson Wentz is the most complete prospect at the quarterback position since Andrew Luck, who he is better than, and also he is the second most mechanically sound quarterback in football behind Thomas Brady. That's all you're gonna get out of me. I have nothing else to say.
Hey, Goat Junior, baby, and I know Mahomes is on his way. I know that. But
Deshaun, but
all
Wentz is
things being
different.
equal, all things being equal, I'm taking Carson over anybody not named Tom Brady. And it's for all the reasons. We're gonna get to Carson. I just wanna bring home that point of what Germ just talked about with having your franchise quarterback being a lead blocker by design. By design on a professional football level. Like if I'm Howie, if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, first of all, if they signed off on that play, poof, okay. But if I'm them and I didn't know about this, and I'm sitting there with my binoculars and I'm watching Carson Wentz lead blocking, I'm going down to the sideline. I'm like, hey, give me these headphones. These belong to me. This here person will lead you out to the parking lot. There's an
Black
Uber
out.
waiting. You gotta go. And I think for
Like that.
me, and this and Vic, if there's anything else you want to touch on for this subject, but I think for me, as we segue into other things into this game, I think for me, Doug Peterson was a one-hit wonder. And I have all the confidence in the world saying that. We know how he knows how to construct a Super Bowl winning roster. Okay. All that being said, Doug gotta go immediately. Vic, another coach who's coaching on the field tonight, he was fired from his former team. And it is because not the same reasons, but it was because of some very bad reasons. All right. And when I'm watching this New York Jets offense, and I did some labbing on them.
Giants.
Yes, the Giants. I started scratching my head. Why am I scratching my head? Because I'm confused as to what exactly are they running. I'm confused as to what exactly is the philosophy, the identity of this offense. And then, of course, like a light bulb, oh, that's right. Jason Garrett is the offensive coordinator. And Jason Garrett been making me scratch my head since 2008. And that nothing has changed. That's one of the few things that have remained normal in 2020. You look at the tape, the spacing and the play design is just so bad. There's instances where guys are running or end up in the same spot, and there's literally instances where guys are running into each other. All right, so DBs don't gotta do nothing because the wide receivers just tackling each other. That's horrible. What's your thoughts? And then toss it over to Jerm because I know he got some thoughts on Jason Garrett as well.
I mean, so you have a situation where everybody's close to each other, but also there's no discipline, right? Right. So there's no discipline in the route
Yes.
running. There's no discipline if you're coaching them on how to space each other out and things like that. So, I just it's one of these situations where how does Jason Garrett have a job at the NFL level? As bad as it sounds, I don't think he's like, at first you would think he's an offensive coordinator, but there's not a team that he has had success with him as an offensive coordinator either. Okay, when the Cowboys were good, the Cowboys had a lot of great seasons, but there was still something missing: discipline, culture. I mean, everything. So, I mean, there's just not much else to talk about it right now. He doesn't have Saquon at his disposal. Sterling Shepard is in and out. Those guys just kind of don't fit that system that Garrett uses. He needs more physical receivers in the outside, and he doesn't have that kind of guy. Kind of like what he had with Des Bryant, kind of like what he had with Jason Witten. That's when the Cowboys' offense was a lot more successful. But other than that, I mean, it's just not a good match. And I mean, we'll see what happens, man. I just there's some coaches again that you guys know how much I say it. The talent at the coaching level in the NFL is very, very short, very, very small. And I mean, Jason Garrett is one of those guys, man.
All I can say is, man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This offense just looks like a crapshoot. We got a quarterback now that looks like he's regressing in
Regressed.
parts of this offense. The offense is too stagnant. Even as good as the offensive line has gotten better, they're benching a left tackle who has not played bad.
Mm-hmm.
He's not giving up bad pressures. He's not playing bad. This is what the film says. This is what the film says. I'm not just making this up. Andrew Thomas According to PFF, it has a under 40 grade as a tackle, and I'm not understanding what the hell they're talking about because the kid is not playing under. He's not playing bad.
Interesting.
He's playing. He's strong at the point of attack. He's technically sound with his feet. He's not misstepping on his pass sets. The only thing that you see consistently with this kid is that he may get mixed up sometime with the running back. But these are things that you say to a player who's in his first year, opposed to them having Jedrick Willis rated so high, and we see Jedrick Willis standing there looking at plays last week. Are y'all serious? Are y'all drunk? Are y'all stupid? Do views got to show you how to do this lab thing? Because we can do it.
I mean, listen.
So he had a great game against Steelers. Week 2, he had a good game. According to I want to see the film week 3 to 5, because according to Jorge, that's when he started to struggle. So I saw the first 2 weeks on film. After that, I guess Andrew Thomas has struggled since. So we'll try to get to that.
I mean, listen. I think the worst thing you can do to somebody, a kid that you drafted to be your franchise left tackle, to be the guy who protects your franchise, is bench him for making certain errors. He's a rookie. He's gonna make errors. And I think, again, it goes back to everything that we've been talking about just incompetence in these management positions. And Dave Gettleman is not the worst, but he's also not the best. And he's also had some again, as I said it a couple weeks ago, he's made some very questionable decisions on some things that greatly impact the football team, mainly being overvaluing certain positions and making bad hires. And I'm sorry, Joe Judge was a bad hire, and that is revealing itself within these first 6 weeks of the season. Let's just segue right into the matchups and get into the lab a little bit on this. The Giants offense is 31st in the league in points per game, yards per game, and red zone scoring. 31st in the league. That is bottom of the barrel.
FC Washington is probably the team they're ahead of.
It might be. It just very well might be. And then another thing here is they only have 3 passing touchdowns in these first 6 games. Now, obviously, they're going to get Sterling Shepard back tonight, and that's a big boost, but he's only going to be there in a limited role. Darius Slayton, he's going to play tonight, but he's also not the healthiest either. And I'm just looking at this Giants offense, and what I boil it down to is, in order for them to be successful, if we want to see Daniel Jones back on that trend where he makes a believer out of us, especially out of me, because I wasn't really a believer out of him coming out of college. But you watch his first tape on the NFL level, it's like, okay, this kid's got something. But as the fellas alluded to, he's shown regression. So what it boils down to me is, for the Giants offense, Evan Ingram is your most important player. And he has been so inconsistent. It's incredible. I think he spells his last name Engraam. Well, he has been En consistent. Okay. He has just been awful. Germ, I want you to touch on this a little bit, and let's just get into the matchup. Key matchups, key points, takeaways, save your prediction.
Evan Ingram is a very, very big matchup. Look, me and Vic scouted Evan Ingram thoroughly. Mm-hmm. We both said it. He's not an every down tight end. He's a joker tight end. Mm-hmm. He's a guy he's going to be the second tight end that you're going to have on the formation. He's going to be a guy that you're going to line up wide, gives you the physical presence outside that you can probably use against smaller DBs. Just what it is. We scouted him extensively. So this is not something that's new to us. We knew who he was when he was drafted. He's exceptionally quick. He's fast. Those type of things, bro. At the end of the day, when the Giants drafted him, they still had Odell Beckham on the roster at the time. So he was looked at to be a complementary piece to the Saquon and Odell Beckham transaction. That's just what it was, or whatever the case was. Let's just go on from there. That's a key matchup in itself. For the Eagles, key matchup for me is really, really simple. I need Byron Scott, the running back out the backfield. I need him to be electric tonight. Deshaun Jackson, I need 4 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown and at least one 50-yard catch tonight. Give Carson something that he can use because you're going to have some plays against this defense. And most importantly, the offensive line. Lane Johnson, please be healthy. Please
Yeah.
be healthy.
Yeah.
Help this guy
Hmm.
because he is getting pressure from every which way.
Hmm.
I don't care what analytics tell you. The Eagles
Hmm.
tackles outside of Lane Johnson have been.
Hmm. Yeah. Hold your breath, think. Um, I think for
Yeah,
the Eagles, just real quick on the injury report, Ertz and Goddard are both out in this game. They're on short-term IR. That's insanely huge. Kayvon Wallace, who's been inconsistent, but they need somebody. He's out in this game. As we said, Lane Johnson and Deshaun are back. That's a big boost. But Miles Sanders is out. Alshon Jeffrey is still out now with a new injury being a calf strain, but they say they expect him to be back for the Cowboys game. We'll see about that. And then on the defensive side, which is something that's very important in this game, Malik Jackson is also out for the Eagles tonight. So the injuries, they just keep piling on for the Philadelphia Eagles. Vic, key matchups to watch for the night.
yeah. Real quick, just some quick like numbers on Carson Wentz and like the situation that he has right now. Most drops in the NFL with 16. Most sack quarterback with 25, just two ahead of Joe Burrow, and that says a lot because it looks like Joe Burrow is getting killed every week.
Hmm.
Most pressured QB with 71 pressures given up. And he's the most blitz QB right now with 95 blitzes. And then on top of that, they're 29th in lowest yards after the catch. So again, when you put all of those things together, now you got the injuries with the two tight ends. I mean, it's what else is this kid supposed to do? Now you got Deshaun Jackson coming back. I highly doubt he's gonna play all the snaps, Jerm. Even though he was looking for those numbers. I mean, I don't. It's an ugly football game for both sides. Of these, both sides for these teams. So, but I think that Carson is still gonna play well. I think that the running back is it Byron or Brian Scott?
Boston Scott.
Boston Scott. Okay,
Okay, I'm
Boston.
sorry.
Yeah, Boston Scott. Yeah, I think. I mean, to me, he's gonna have to play a significant role in this game if the Eagles want to win this game.
Yeah.
So I see a score. I see a tight score, bro. I think it's like honestly like 19-16. I'm gonna say for this game.
Right. And see, that's where I'm at in this game is I'm trying to figure out how are either of these offenses gonna score points. And to tell you the truth, outside of explosive plays, outside of bad safety plays, outside of bad gap integrity, I'm just not sure exactly how these teams can matriculate the ball down the field. Shout out to the legendary Chiefs coach. Um, so a couple things for me to say on this one. To me, for the Eagles, this defensive line is still the anchor to this whole team. And they have depth. Even with Malik Jackson being out, they still have depth. They rotate their guys in and out constantly. Fletcher Cox is obviously the most used person on this defensive line. Right after him is Brandon Graham. And then you get into the Derek Barnetts. You get into the situational guys like Hassan Ridgeway, who I think is a player that if he can continue to develop, can turn into a nice solid piece to throw in there next to Fletcher Cox. And just Fletcher Cox, I want to see Fletcher Cox play football for as long as possible. Now, their matchup tonight being that Giants offensive line, I'm not going to tell you they're good. I'm not going to tell you they're bad. I'm just going to tell you they leave a lot to be desired. They're very inconsistent and all across the board, they just need to be better in everything. Communication, discipline, pass protection, run blocking, bottom of the barrel, and run in the run offense. So the best way they can negate that, I know Devontae Freeman, who, if you're in fantasy, you're desperate for a running back. There is no reason Devontae Freeman should be on the waiver wires in any fantasy league because he's going to get that volume right now, it seems. But for the Giants, they got to get Dion Lewis involved more because they need to get some cheap yards out of an offense that just simply has no idea right now how to consistently move the ball down the field. I think that pretty much covers everything that we need for this game, fellas. Let's get right
Predictions
into the
for you.
predictions. Like I said, I just don't see how the Giants can consistently move the ball down the field outside of big plays. I have a hard time relying on these receivers for the Philadelphia Eagles. And as I said this last night to the fellas in our mini lab session, when you see a quarterback no longer having trust in his receivers and his pass catchers, that's when you start to see inconsistencies in his throws, inconsistencies in maybe even his mechanics sometimes. Just inconsistencies begin to happen for the quarterback because he knows his receivers can't catch certain balls. So he's got to think, oh, I'm throwing to this guy when he's running this route. I better take a little bit off this. Oh, this guy's running this route on that route against this guy. Oh, I got to put it here or else ain't no way in hell he's going to catch it. I'm gonna go with the Eagles because there's no way they should lose to this Giants football team. Man, this Giants football team is simply not good. And this Eagles team is not much better either. But I'm taking them solely off of two things: Carson Wentz and that defensive line. So give me the Eagles to win this one, 44 and a half. I'm going under, and I'm taking the Eagles to even cover, believe it or not. So give me the Eagles 19-11. Germ, thoughts and predictions, or predictions rather.
Fletch and Wentz, baby. Fletch and Wentz. Fletch and Wentz.
Fletch and wins or Fletch and wins?
Fletch and Wentz.
All right, I like it. Yeah, look at you.
Fletch and
Bars.
Wentz.
Shout out Worldwide Lists.
Bars. Let me get the Eagles tonight. I think we can. I think we can get 24 points out of this offense tonight. Problem is, I don't think we can get 24 points out of the Giants. So they'll be lucky to score more than 20 points. Give me 24-20.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Like I said, I'm gonna go 20-16, just so that, because if 19 would mean that they have a missed field goal, I think that this will be a kickers game. So I think the kickers will probably have like 3 kicks each. So 2016 Eagles.
I mean, a 19 could also just mean that Doug Peterson plays the analytics and misses 2 2-point conversions because he wanted to do
There you
some
go.
dumb shit.
That is true.
Anyways, shout out to the people in the comments. Leon Williams is in the building. Shout out to you, brother. Always a pleasure to see you in the comments. Keep fighting the good fight. Big shot into saying that Carson was like a young Daryl Johnston. Hey, and then KG came out and said that PFF is some hot garbage. And as we have said for years, I mean, you know me, I'm gonna always respect the lab work, but there is 1000% inconsistencies in PFF's formula. And again, for anybody watching this, if you go to PFF and you want to see the grade so you can form your opinion, you're doing it wrong. Okay? If that's what you want to do, come here, buy this car that I'm selling, but you can't test drive it. PFF says right there on their website, our grades are not an indication of player performance. So stop using those grades to justify your opinions. We're going to leave it at that. Fellas, any closing thoughts before we close this show out?
No, just
I think
enjoy
that's
the
good, man.
game.
Just ready.
Try to enjoy the
Sir.
game. We'll be
Try.
back with the heat later
Yeah.
on in
Yeah.
the week. We got the best pregame show in the world
The
coming on
best.
Sunday.
The
You
best.
know how that go. You know how
Yes.
we like it.
Yes. Yes.
But for the belligerence of the insolence of Doug Peterson, I'm sick of dudes. I'm sick of dudes. You gotta go.
Yes. Well, that will be the conclusion of the intrusion of your evening, ladies and gentlemen. See, you ain't the only one true. You ain't the only one true. Iron sharp as iron, baby. Uh, enjoy the food that you're gonna eat while you try to watch this game. Take us home, True.
You too.